Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you and your loved ones are doing well. My name is Elsie Kayugira and this is Child of Mine. Welcome to another episode of Child of Mine, where we are going to talk about knowing your child's personality and how that helps you to raise them better. Karibuni sana. Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well today. And my name is Elsie Kayugira. This is Child of Mine. Welcome to another episode. And today we want to talk about knowing your child's personality and if that is helpful to help you parent them better. So I have a guest here, Maureen, and probably she'll talk more about herself. Yeah, tell us about yourself in detail if you can. And thank you so much for coming, Maureen, to shed light on this important topic. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Elsie. Humbled to be here. My name is Maureen Kioga. I'm a counseling psychologist by profession. I'm a mother of 3 children, 2 teenagers and 1 5-year-old. So you can imagine the gap. I'm a wife, definitely to 1 husband. I love the Lord as my personal savior. I'm born again. And just passionate to be here today and just be able to share. As you said, it's not really an expert matter, but it's just how we get to learn from each other. So I'm humbled to be here. Yes.
Asante. And thank you so much for taking your time to be here.
No problem. I appreciate.
It's a pleasure so much. Now, about this topic.
Yes.
Knowing your child's personality
Yes.
to help you parent better. First of all, what is personality?
Oh, yes. I think it's a very interesting topic, to say the least. Personality basically are just unique traits. They are unique traits that each individual has that influence your feelings, your emotions, and your behavior. So there, you could just assemble them that every one of us has a unique trait that influence that. Yes.
So each and every person born on this earth
Yes.
has a unique trait.
Yes, definitely. We're all uniquely made. When God created us, when they talk about that each of us has a unique fingerprint.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
Never the same.
Exactly.
Even with twins.
Even with twins, they're different. So it actually shows you how God was very intentional in creating each and every one of us. Yes, because He knew that He had an individual purpose for each and every one of us. So there were unique traits that had to be inbuilt in you to be able to accomplish those purposes.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Sure. Do you think knowing your child's personality is helpful?
Absolutely. It's really helpful because one thing, when the Bible says that train a child in how they should grow, the word train comes from a way of how you're able to guide this child, instruct them, give them skills on how to become characters, probably the future characters. So knowing your child's personality is just part of the tools. You say like parenting is like you having a toolbox, like when you go to buy something from, let's say like an electronic, and you have a manual, right? It's basically like your toolbox, saying when you go home, fix it like this, like that. So what happens is that when you're able to learn your child's personality, it's like having a toolbox by itself. Because now you're able to understand, this is what I need to do, this is how I need to train them, this is how I need to instruct them. So I think it's a very important tool to know as a parent, so that you can be able to raise your child in the way that resonates with the child.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's important. And while I want to know my child's personality, I may not be able to have known mine. I may not have known mine. So, is it important for me to know myself first before I get to know this child.
Absolutely. I think it is very important for parents to be self-aware, because if you're not, you'll find that you will end up inflicting, let me say that, lack of a better word, but the patterns. You might end up influencing your child with your own patterns. You see? So if you don't understand that this is who I am, therefore I'm raising this child depending on how I am. You see, if you're not aware, if you do not know, then you'll find that those healthy parental patterns may reoccur. So it is very, very important for we as parents to be able to know ourselves, know who am I as a person, what's my personality, why do I behave or think the way I do. Then now you can be able to also now understand this child of mine, they do, and this, some of us could be similar with our children, because personalities are developed, one from genetics, and the other two factors would be environmental and experiences. So you'd find if you're raising this child, you'd be able to know maybe this child that we are similar, or maybe we are worlds apart. Yes.
I think there should be more classes or sessions for pre-parenting, so that you know yourself as a parent, before you become one.
Yes.
There are premarital classes, pre-parenting classes.
It should. I think it should be there. And sometimes I think if we don't get those classes, I think there's also now just reliance on the Holy Spirit and ask, Lord, please help me learn how to parent this child better.
Yeah, sure. Actually, the Bible says the Holy Spirit will teach us all things.
Exactly.
Including parenting.
And you see, at the end of the day, we want to raise godly offspring.
Yeah.
And I keep on telling myself, as a parent, I'm just a steward. I've been given custody of these children. So I need to go and ask the person who gave me the mandate. So you gave me these children. How would you want me to raise them to be the people that you want them to be?
Sure.
So for me, I'm just becoming like I'm a road between God and these children. Eventually, they'll become the people that God wants them to be. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
What are the personalities in children? Are they different from adults?
Not really. I think in children probably we'll just name them differently. In adults, probably I would say, there is the choleric, there is the melancholic, there is the sanguines, and the phlegmatics. That's how we know them as adults. But probably with children, we'll try and make them sound children friendly and say maybe for choleric, we'll call them strong-willed.
Okay.
So that child who is just a go-getter. They are these children who they know what they want. They're determined from the get-go. You already see them, how they handle things, how they play with their friends. They already look like the natural leaders, They're the ones who are controlling the show. They're the ones who are calling the shots, So those are strong-willed children. And then for the melancholic, you'll call them the creatives. Or the thoughtful child.
Okay.
Yeah, so because melancholics they're more of the thoughtful ones. They would be the ones who are sensitive, the ones who they're we would call them, they're creatives. Most melancholics, you'd find them, they will be more the creative circles, they will be the sensitive ones. Yes, the artistic ones, the sensitive ones, the ones who are more organized, they are more arranged, proper, They're the ones who would grow up knowing that, all my ducks have to be in one row before I do this. So those are the thoughtful ones. They're melancholic.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've talked about sensitivity.
Yes.
Sensitivity to the emotions.
Yes. In fact, they're called they're sensitive because the emotions are very lack of a better word. The emotions are sensitive. So you'd find that the ones who probably would, if you make them angry, they will be the ones who would catch feelings mapema.
And cry for long.
Exactly, because they're sensitive. They're those ones they're empathetic. In fact, melancholics are those empathetic ones. They do not want anything to go wrong. They would be the ones who would be in a crowd of with children. They would be the ones who would look like the carers, the nurturers. Those are melancholic. So we call them thoughtful ones, the thoughtful children. Then there's the sanguines, the happy-go-lucky, the ones who are the party. They're called the fun of the party.
Yeah, what of the party?
Yes, there's a name, something of the party.
Yes.
They're the ones who bring joy. That they'll be the ones who will be the talkative ones, the ones who will be everywhere, all over the place. So those are called social butterflies. When you see that, when their voices, so and so is here.
Yeah.
Where is so and so? We need her or we need them to come and life of the party.
Oh, the
life of the party. Yes, life of the party. Yes. So that's the social butterfly. And then now there'll be the easygoing one, the flags. They're the easygoing children, the ones who hakuna maneno mingi. We don't want stories. We don't want conflict. Let us. Yes, everyone's. In fact, they fit in anyone's plan. They don't want to be aggressive. They don't want to look like they're annoying people. They are easy in terms of conflict. They'll be no, let's not do that. So the easygoing child. So I would probably just demarcate them that way in terms of how we name them as adults and how we would see them as a child. So that when you're able to see your child, you're knowing, are they the easygoing?
Yeah.
Are they the social butterfly? Are they the thoughtful ones?
Yeah.
Or are they the strong-willed ones?
Yeah.
So those are the four that are known. Yeah, yeah.
I see. Can a child exhibit more than two?
Okay, I'm not seeing that per se, but they can. It's not an impossibility. It's sometimes you'd find one who is a bit of, they are I'm trying to look for the thoughtful one, or they also don't want conflict. So they may have a bit of both, but one is dominant. It's like having a dominant personality, then you have one which is a bit, it's not so exhibit, but there's one that dominates, that now is the one that how this child will be able to think or to be able to feel or behave will be attributed to the dominant personality. Yes. Yeah.
Now, do these personalities call for different parenting styles or methods?
Absolutely. I think they do because, look at it this way. The way a Toyota cannot be, I'm looking for a spare part for a different car. Like you cannot use a Toyota engine for a Mitsubishi or a Mercedes. So it means that just the way we started and saying that each child is unique.
Yeah.
Then there's also the unique way of this child, how they need to be raised. So meaning that it's not, parenting is not a one shoe fits all. Yeah. I know with us, with our parents, that is how we were brought up, one method. For all of us, kama ni kuchapwa ilikuwa sisi wote tunatandikwa hapo, mnapangwa kama line, but you find that is not, it will not resonate because a strong-willed, how you would able to raise a strong-willed child will not be the same of how you'll be able to raise an easygoing child. Because you remember this strong-willed child, maybe they push themselves.
Yeah.
They go out and do things, But this easygoing child, they need motivation. They need to be told, it's okay to do that. It's okay to take responsibilities. But you'll find this strong-willed, then they will stand up and take responsibility. They will be the one to suggest themselves for leadership positions.
They don't have to be pushed.
They don't need to be pushed at all. But this easygoing child, they remember they will not take that option of, let me take the responsibility of becoming a leader.
Yeah.
So they will need something like motivation to be told, why don't you try and take this leadership role? So the way you would parent this strong-willed child would definitely be different in how you would parent an easygoing child or a sanguine.
Yeah.
So, because all of them exhibit different characteristics.
Yeah.
You'd find probably someone like a sanguine, picking up just a random one, they're the ones who would probably, since they're so easy, fun-loving, their focus is limited.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they will not focus on one thing
long.
for long. Today they're doing one thing, someone comes and say, let's do this. They've changed it. They've changed
this and gone to another one.
Exactly. But you see, a strong-willed one would be like, this is the deal. I need results for this, so I will stick and plan this till it comes to an end.
Yes.
So you can imagine if you're trying to punish both children using the same measure, it will definitely be a disservice.
Yeah.
So there's a way that you'll need to learn how to adapt. Parenting, you adapt how to raise a strong-willed child, and that's why it would be very important for us as parents to be able to understand our children.
Yeah.
Understand, am I raising a strong-willed child? Am I raising a sanguine? Am I raising an easygoing? Am I raising the thoughtful one?
Yeah.
And then now you'll be able now to curtail different ways of how to raise them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, supposing I have a choleric one, and this one, you said it's who? This one that's not so strong.
The easygoing?
Yeah, the easygoing.
Or the thoughtful one?
The thoughtful one.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a very strong one who takes leadership and this one that needs to be pushed.
Yeah.
So how do I create a balance? How do I make them, thrive in their spaces, in their personalities? So work with these two personalities as a parent.
Okay, a good question. One thing is that you get to understand, as I said, in terms of how you're raising them is different. One thing is that even when it comes to, let's even pick an issue of like discipline, how you discipline a strong-willed child would be very different in how you discipline a thoughtful child or an easygoing child.
How do I discipline a strong-willed?
A strong-willed child, look at them this way. Since they're so much result-oriented, right?
Yes.
They are focused, they're determined, they're bold. Yeah. So these are the ones who would easily challenge authority.
Yeah.
They're the ones who would ask you, kwa nini?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Why?
Yeah.
So they're the ones who'd look at it like, say, Mom, you're being unfair. Because they feel like maybe the punishment you gave them was not equivalent to the crime or whatever that they did. Okay? Yeah. So there's a way when you understand how this is a strong-willed child. First of all, for them, it's more of they will not take commands. For them, it's rather you'd give them a choice.
Oh.
They're more of choice-oriented than commands. They will not be like, go do your homework now. For them, they would want you to say...
This one cannot survive some process.
For sure. And you see, that's where there's so much to learn in personalities that it even causes, like, even if we move further down, even how you select your career.
Yeah.
It's strongly aligned to your personality.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So before I digress to that, so you're asking me about the discipline. So you find that this strong-willed child would probably be more of a person who would require choices more than commands. So probably you wouldn't tell them, go and do your homework.
Yeah.
This one would want to be, would you do your homework before dinner or immediately after taking a bath? So you're giving them a choice so that they can feel they are independent. Cholerics are independent. So they want to feel like I am making this choice and say, I will do it after dinner or I'll do it before. So that you're giving them autonomy to know I can choose. But as long as the end of the day, you want the homework done before they go to bed.
Oh, yeah.
So you see, there's more of a logic. For them, you need to be firm with them and calm. There's more of, they're more logic oriented than the feelers.
I see.
The thoughtful one would want to be more motivated. Because thoughtful ones, I don't know if you asked easygoing or thoughtful ones. Which one did you ask? The thoughtful one. The thoughtful one, mostly, since they're so sensitive, we've talked about them being the mushy ones, the akinasisi. we are those melancholics, those ones who are mushy and easy. We are feelers. Yes. You'd call us that way. So for us, there's a way that we don't take criticism. Like if you're to punish us. Would not appreciate you probably punishing us in front of people. Would like probably if you'd come and tell me, Mom, you did this, which was not right.
Yeah.
So for us, we are more of, we need the affirmation. Because one thing about feelers also, we are so self-critical. You know, we criticize ourselves because there's a way that thoughtful children seek for perfection, you know. Yes, they seek to perfect, they seek, you remember I was telling you about them having all ducks in one row.
Yes.
So for them, mistakes are not something we should be doing.
Oh.
Yes.
They're more like the choleric.
Not in a way, not choleric in a way, in terms of for them, they take mistakes very harshly.
Oh.
Assuming like they make a mistake, they will beat themselves up. Cholerics will make a mistake, they will realize, okay, we've made a mistake. Let's exactly. Let's re-strategize. How do we move forward? You understand?
Yeah.
But the thoughtful one would be like, I made this mistake.
And they'll take time grieving, Amma?
Of course. It's my fault. Maybe if I did this, maybe if I did that. So you find that they seek for perfectionism so that they don't make mistakes.
That means they take time making decisions.
Of course. So you find that if you're raising this child, you need to give them more of affirmation that mistakes are for learning. When you make a mistake, you can learn from it. What have you learned from your mistake? How do you, so you kind of like guide them in being able to appreciate that we can all make mistakes, but mistakes are not failure. Because for this thoughtful child, they'll look at a mistake as a failure. So you'd want to direct them and show them, no, imagine it's not failure. You can learn and you can grow from it.
Yeah.
So you see now how that parent has to weigh.
Yes.
So you see how I can't raise this strong-willed child and this thoughtful child with the same way.
Oh, you can't.
Yes, because
You really can't.
you remember, and also the strong-willed one. I love strong-willed children because I think I have one. They are more of, they are not feelers, they're not emotional per se. For them, it's results.
Ouch.
Let's have results.
Okay.
Let's get results.
Okay.
You know, the feeling moshi. So you can imagine you have this feeler who wants her feelings affirmed, her feelings, and then you have this one who, okay, I made a mistake, let's move forward.
Yes.
So you can imagine if you're raising them and using the same pedestal,
Oh, yeah.
then definitely, you will definitely be forming a disservice to one of them. Yes. And therefore, that's why it's important that it's not one shoe fits all.
Yes.
It's just getting to understand that this is my child, I have this set of children, this is how this one is raised, this one is how this one is raised. And it also gives you the challenge of getting to know your children. You get to know them intricately. You know, we stop doing the surface parenting and get deep into our children's lives and get to know, you know, what makes her reason, what makes her think, or what makes her tick. So I think if you're able to do that, then it can give you you'll be able to raise these children independently so that they know this is me and this is how I am and I can still thrive. You know, even if you're two sisters or two brothers, you can know that, you know, my brother is strong-willed, but I am not.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me any less than my brother. It means that he's just a go-getter, while I am an easy child, but we can all thrive because our parents have raised us this way.
Oh, true.
Yes.
True. About the choleric one.
Yes.
This question is going away from my mind. Is there a way I can make them emotionally what? Is emotionally intelligent the right word here? Do they of course they have emotions.
Yes.
But they come out as uncaring and feeling.
Yes.
They
Aggressive.
Just want is there a way I can train my child or raise them in a way that they also get to be receptive to other people's emotions, try to understand and accept them?
Yeah.
And how is that? How can we do that?
Sure enough. If you look at all personalities, they all have their strong points and the weakness.
Yeah.
Like any other set of characteristics. So you'd find that the cholerics, yes, they come out as natural leaders, they come out as determined, bold, you know, easy to make decisions, not go-getters, not averse of risk, for them, let's go, but they now also have their weaknesses, and the weakness, as you mentioned, is one of them, is that, sometimes they are so result oriented that they forget people feel, or, they tend to be bossy or over controlling, So as you're raising this child, once you are able to understand that this child of mine is a strong-willed, you're able to let them learn to be empathetic, and you can teach them how to be empathetic. And you see, even as children, there are many ways to understand empathy, even as you probably take them to a children's home to visit, probably. I'm just giving a random example of how you can teach children how to be empathetic. Maybe you can go and look at homeless children and street children and do a venture and say, we are giving them, food items, You're teaching them that, apart from this person being an individual who can produce results, they are also a person who has feelings. So there's a way, if you learn how to emulate empathy. And one thing about parents, I keep on telling parents, is that children learn from modeling. They're more sponges than you telling them, do this. You need to be empathetic. You need to be more, you need to be a feeler. Stop.
They need to see.
Show them. Show them how it is to be empathetic. Even maybe to your relatives who come in the house, how are you showing empathy to them so that they can understand, okay, apart from me wanting this, but there's also, these people have feelings and have emotions, So if you're able to emulate empathy, then they are able to learn from it and adapt, and also be able now to balance, that they're not now just running with one side. They can also learn their weakness and will probably strengthen it in one way or another. Yes.
And for this personality who loves to just stay and let other people lead, how can you push them to also wasiachane sana na huyu mwingine?
Yeah, good. Yes, you can. And you see now, probably for that, throw them responsibilities. Give them responsibilities your way, as they probably are going, and maybe I'm just getting a random example, maybe let them carry the fare, so that they pay, so you're teaching them responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah, that it's not so bad to be a leader, like, and you can, I'm trusting you with this, maybe you can tell them, I'm keeping you, maybe it's a middle child, you can say, I've put you in charge of the younger one. I want you to make sure that you warm their milk and give it to them. So you're also teaching them how to be responsible, so that they're not avert and saying, okay, it's only those guys who can be responsible. But you give them small bits, depending on also the age of the child, you can now see what ways can you throw some aspects of responsibilities their way, so that they can also feel confident that, yes, I'm an easy child, but yes, I can also be responsible. I can take, so you give them those opportunities to take initiative, so that encourage them. And when they do, congratulate them, well done, you actually did this for your younger brother, which is a good thing, or your younger sister. So it's a act of the training, but learning what this child is, so that you can train them in the right way. Yes.
Yeah. Can personalities change? For example, my 6-year-old exhibits traits of choleric, and then they get to teenagehood,
they change. Yes, and we've had a lot of that. Like, no, my child was this way when they're young, and now they're this way. It does change. As I mentioned, personalities are formed, probably one from our genetics, number two is from our environment, and from our experiences. So you notice that as this child is growing up, they develop they grow up in different environments, or they go through different experiences. Maybe if I give a random example, is that you find maybe a child was growing up when they were 6, and probably they experience a loss, probably loss of a loved one. So this child will tend to withdraw. There was this child who was happy, go lucky, but with that experience that they went through, they tend to now pull back, and now they become this child who is quiet, not talking. So you find that this is a personality that they would probably grow up into, the quiet bit. But they were initially a happy child, But the challenge with that is that sometimes when we move away from our innate personalities, we tend not to find joy as we grow, as we become adults, because you find
that's not the real you.
Exactly. That's not the real you. You are this young child who was happy, but maybe through this certain experience, or maybe the environment that you grew up in, sometimes like some of us who grew up in boarding schools, you went there and life changed, So you find that environment maybe changed me. Yeah. Maybe there was a way that I had to adapt to be able to fit in that environment. Yes. You get? So you find that you developed a different coping mechanism that oozed out as your personality. Yeah. But that is not really you. So when you continue growing up, you find that I no longer find joy in just being quiet or just being seated by myself. I want to explore and talk to friends, because that is who you are, You are this funny, happy, go person. Yeah. But now the environment or the circumstances led you to feel that this is the way I should be. Yeah. So they can change that, as I said, factoring in maybe the environment they're in or the experiences that they've gone through. But now as they grow up, they would have moved away from initially who they were supposed to be. So you find that this person will grow up, they're no longer finding joy in maybe the job they took, they're no longer finding job in the career. Exactly. So it's normally important in fact, I think self-awareness is something that we keep doing. Yes, we all need to be self-aware, so that you understand that, okay, I'm usually quiet, but I love this. Can I prod and see? Yes. Why do I like more? So you start putting yourself in those environments where there are many people, and if it's something you enjoy, why not? Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think as a parent, it's important that before I even, take my child to pursue a certain career, they need to know themselves.
Absolutely. They need to, because that is the way they would be able to thrive in the purpose. I strongly believe that even your career should be aligned like with your purpose. So if you're aligned with your purpose, then you'll find joy in what you're doing. So as a parent, it would be very important for you to help your child grow into their purpose. So if you're able to understand their personality correctly, then you can be able even to give them, look at those options that will be aligned, to that line of, as you're looking for careers for them. Yeah. But if you understand this is how they reason, this is how they feel, this is how they think, then you can be able to, even when you're directing them into the purpose or into the careers that you feel will be a fit for them. Yeah. Yes.
So as a parent, is it easy parenting a child of the same personality like you, or it's hard because they say like poles repel,
yes,
and like poles attract.
Okay, I think I can look at it in both ways, and in my opinion, I think it's sometimes easier because when you're parenting a child of similar personality, you see yourself in them, I don't like this, so I didn't like when someone shouts at me, so I know I better not shout at her because that's not the way it should be, because you can imagine now this parent who is strong-willed and raising an easygoing child. They would be in, they would, why aren't you doing this? They would be like, please, or maybe it's a strong-willed parent or a choleric raising a sanguine. Yes. There will be definitely those conflicts, But now it's up to the parent who now is the bigger person in this picture to be able to understand. I'm a choleric. I love things I am not a feel. I am this way. I am aligned this way. But this child of mine, she's a sanguine. And she can still thrive in that personality. So how am I supposed to be a support system to her other than wanting to implement my own personality to them? Because you're thinking now, no, everyone should be doing this because you believe it. things should be done like this, So you are always in conflict with your child because there's that conflict in personality. They see things differently. You're seen this way, and you're always at loggerheads, especially when they get to teenagehood, where now they can also be assertive and also want to show you that, no, don't push me over. That is where you find most teenagers and parents would be like, my parents don't understand me. And parents are like, we don't understand these teenagers. But if we can get to that place where you get to understand your child as an individual, and best thing as they grow up, so that you can learn them step by step. By the time they get into teenagehood, you've already passed through the knacks and cracks of the matter, and you're now raising her to just be the person that God intended them to be. Yes.
Raising them to be a person God intended them to be.
Yes.
How do I take advantage of that and make sure it happens? I know, of course, life has its own unpredictabilities, but in my space right now with my child, what do I do? Just take advantage of this personality to make them a better person.
I think one thing, as I mentioned earlier, is that as parents, I strongly believe you're just a steward. So first of all, just go to the person who created them and ask, you've given me custody of these children. How would you want me to raise them? The Bible says that if anyone lacks wisdom, let them ask for it. So pray for wisdom. Ask God, give me the wisdom to raise these children in the people that you want them to be. Because at the end of the day, you'll be held accountable. So I think for me, the first and foremost thing is to pray for wisdom. Number two would probably just be consistent in how you raise them, in terms of when you say that this is what you need to do, then you do it that way. That you're not wishy-washy in your decisions. You're firm and you're consistent with the discipline in how you. If they go wrong, this is how we're going to discipline. Probably as you've said, as I mentioned, that you've known your children or each child, you know that these are the set of rules that we will abide with. So just remain consistent with them and be patient also, because it really, really helps. Another thing I would probably encourage is, teach the heart.
Teach the heart.
Yes. The heart, not the behavior. Because the Bible says that out of it's guard the heart, for all things stem from it.
Yes.
So if you're able to teach the heart, then you've been able to capture the character of that child.
Okay.
So if you're always concerned about their behavior and you're not concerned about their heart, then you are falling, you're off the mark.
Okay. Make me understand better.
When you're teaching the heart, there's more of you being able to touch that child's heart in terms of what their character would be at the end of it. So whether it's a sanguine, or it's a choleric, or it's a phlegmatic, or it's a melancholic, how is their heart? It's not about the behavior only, it's about their heart.
Because actually the heart, the position or the state of the heart will show off in the behavior, right?
Exactly. It will ooze off, because out of the abundance of the heart, it's the mouth that speaks. So if you're more concerned with their heart in terms of their character, aligning them to God's word in terms of who God says they are, regardless of them being sanguines, cholerics, melancholics, because you could have a sanguine who is kind. You could have a choleric who's kind.
Yeah, sure.
You see?
Sure.
So you've touched the heart of this person. It's not that choleric who will grow up to be this mean old boss.
Yeah, true. You could also have a sanguine with self-control.
Exactly. So there's more to be that you're learning more of how they will develop in terms of their character. And how you'd want to affect a child's character is by their heart, in terms of what values are you instilling in them that will touch their hearts more than even their behavior. So I think if you're able to do that, and even as you when you're correcting, correct with love and not with anger, so that they can be able to learn the difference of this is correction and this is discipline because I'm loved, and it's the behavior that's been disciplined and not me as a person. So if you're able to balance, of which now we look at it, it's heavy for a parent, but I believe that when you ask the Holy Spirit to give you guidance, how am I supposed to raise this child? How am I raising this child? How am I raising this child? I'm sure you will be given wisdom to be able to know how to raise them. Yes.
Wow. That's so profound. It's like a class.
and imagine parenting is a journey.
Yes.
We should stop looking at it like it's a destination. It's never. We're not aiming for perfection. It's just learning. So we learn every day. We hear this information, we learn, we pick one thing from this person, one thing from that person, and then you learn how to.
Sure. So it's a journey. At some point you get lost.
You get stuck. I know someone, maybe a parent out there is sitting and like, my goodness, me, I have raised them in, but it's not all hope is lost. Just pick up, like when you've learned something, pick it up and run with it. Okay, I'm hearing this. How can I change? How can I tweak my journey? It's like when you're in a journey and you get lost, right? When you find that you're on the wrong path, you don't sit and wallow in that space and say, now I'm lost. No, you change compass and say, okay, then it means I should turn left and go straight, So I think it's not to be so hard on ourselves as parents, It's just being in this process of I'm learning. Every day is a learning day. When you hear such podcasts, you learn, one or two things, maybe, something you didn't know, so you learn. So I like to tell parents to just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the falls, pick up yourself, rise again, and then walk again. Yes, at the end of the day, let's not look for perfection. Let's not look.
Because we'll not find it anyway.
It's not even, I think it's an illusion. Hakuna kufikia perfection.
Are there personalities that are better than others or worse?
I used to have that perception. But it's not true. There's no personality that's better than others. As I said, all personalities have both their strengths and their weaknesses. If we're to go through each and every one of them, you'd find there's a personality, it has its strength, it has its weakness. The good thing is that even with telling your children, we have leaders who have all spectrums of personalities. So there's no personality that is better than the other. That will definitely be equal to say God created other people better than others. And that is not true. All personalities are unique. In fact, whether you're whether you're an easygoing child or a strong-willed, there's a reason and a purpose why you are that way. Because for your purpose, it needed a strong-willed child. For your purpose, it needed an easygoing child. For your purpose, it needed a thoughtful child. And for your purpose, it needed a joyful child. So there's a purpose, there's a reason why we were created the way we are. And being able to let your child know that, so that they don't feel like I am any lesser of a person because this person is so outgoing and me, I'm not. The way people used to say, oh, extroverts are so happy. I used to think that way, that extroverts is such, I wish I was an extrovert. I don't like being, but it is a lie. There's no personality that is better than the other. We were all created uniquely, and the reason why it was a tool that was placed in us, it's for us to be able to accomplish our purposes. Yes.
Wow, God is such a perfect planner.
Into the T.
Yes.
To the T, yes, to the T.
You mentioned that you share personality with one of your child.
Yes.
What personality are you?
I'm a melancholic. Okay. I'm the thoughtful ones.
Okay.
We are the ones who are the feelers.
Okay.
We are the ones who are a bit sensitive. We are the ones who are let me say the good things and the negative ones. Yes, but we are the creatives. We are the artistic ones. We are more, the artistic would like things. We are like the color people. We are easygoing. We are, what did I say about, we are we're thoughtful. I say we're thoughtful, we are creative. The challenge is that we also like our things in one row, ducks with one row. We are organized. We're not the impulsive ones, we take time to make decisions, The disadvantage is that we are the... Yes. The disadvantage is that we are the overthinkers. Yes. We are the ones who would take criticism very personally, so for us, Niwale, if you want to correct us in private, not in public, because we take criticism.
To custom that.
That's exactly your word. You can't just come and say you didn't do this. You have to come and say, oh, you tried doing this, but how can I help? You custom make your words so that they don't wound us. So yes, we are those ones, and apart from let me not exaggerate on the exact negatives, but yes.
It sounds beautiful to me.
They're overthinking. Okay. And you see, so everyone, I think it's, if I told you about the easygoing ones, the same thing. As in, they all have their weaknesses and their strengths. Yes. So that's the personality I share with my daughter. Wow. Yes. Wow. Okay. So I tend to see, when you look and say, I don't like being corrected that way. Yes. So it also holds me in terms of how I do. But I have the three are all in different spectrums. Okay. I have the easygoing one, I have the sanguine, and then I have the thoughtful one. Yes.
3 generations, 3 personalities, 3 different ways of parenting.
Very true. Yes. So
you need wisdom there.
A lot of it. That's what I'm saying. It's always just asking for wisdom. So that you can see each child uniquely as themselves. Yes, uniquely as themselves.
Indeed, God created us to be all unique.
Agree.
All unique. How can you advise a parent in regards to this topic today? Like, what do they need to do? I know you say don't beat up yourself as a parent. But someone who's already beating themselves up, they've made mistakes, they've interfered, with their child's personality. They want them to be this way, and they've somehow tried to be that way. How can you tell this mother or father?
Okay. I think one thing is just that not all hope is lost. That we've just talked about parenting being a journey. That if you feel like you've gotten to a place where it's lost, then you can actually just stop. When you're lost, you don't continue the lost, the walking in the same direction. So the first thing is you stop where you are, and then now look back and see, okay, where probably maybe it was because of lack of information. Maybe you just didn't know. So find out, okay, I have raised this child this way, or this is how I've thought was the right way, because I believe every parent has the best interest of their child. So maybe if you look at it back and say, okay, I've raised this child this way, but because of lack of knowing, you now extend yourself some grace, and now pick it up from there. And then number one, just learn. First of all, if you do not know yourself, please do. Get to know yourself. Understand, who am I? What's my personality? Am I thoughtful? Am I a phleg? Am I a choleric? What am I? And then now understand your child, from their behavior, from their thoughts, from what they do, who are you? How do you reason? Maybe this is you reason this way because this is who you are. So once you get to that space of being aware of both who you are and who your child is, then make amends. Start making amends from there, because if you can undo, because life is about learning, relearning, and unlearning. So redo those things that probably you have done that you thought were not healthy for your child. Maybe it was how you were disciplining them. Maybe you are the one who was the choleric, and you used to be like, things have to be this way and this way. So find out that this way has not worked for me. So what's the best way to start disciplining this child, you know. And with time, you know, one thing about behavior is that with time you perfect it, you know, you perfect their behavior. So once you've understood where you are, once you have made amends, then you start walking in the right path. And as I said, it's never too late. Whether it's children who are teenagers now, or maybe you're in the beginning process, you know, it's never too late to stop and do the right thing and reroute. Yes, it's never too late. So for me, I would just encourage like parents to not throw their hands up and say, now it's finished. I spoiled. Yes. Nimeharibu. Yes, you can. When you do that, you're also affecting the generation to come. So just pause there, stop there, and redirect yourself. I think it's never too late, and not all hope is lost. So I think for me that would be my encouragement to probably a parent who's feeling that I think I've blundered, I think I've not done the right thing, I think I didn't know this information. Don't let the information be overwhelming. Use it for your advantage. Let this information empower you to want to make amends. Yes.
Yeah. Now, as a counseling psychologist, someone who needs your services, they need counsel. How can they find you? Where can they find you?
I right now doing private practice. If someone would want to get in touch, my numbers. Should I give my number?
Yeah,
you can put my number. Fantastic. So my number will definitely be shared. My email address will be shared. I am more of a versatile counselor. Probably if you're interested in the online counseling, then that can happen. If you're interested in the one-on-one, then that can be done. So I'm available. To help anyone needs any sessions.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Karibu.
All right. One thing I've taken home is that every child is unique. Every child is unique, just like the way each person has their own fingerprint that can never be similar to another. And so every child is unique, and with different personalities, God had a plan for each of them. And he had a plan. He looked ahead, and so he knows what spaces your child will occupy. And so as a parent, I take home that I need to know myself before I know my child, so that I'm able to raise them better. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if this content has spoken to you, kindly like, share, subscribe, spread the word. Hey there, I hope this session was impactful to you. And if this content has spoken to you, kindly like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much to this wonderful team. Always are here working tirelessly with me. Cray Pictures, they are located at Muthiga along Waiyaki Way. They specialize in video, photography, any event. Look for them, Cray Pictures. They are the way to go.